A scream no one expected shattered the quiet of the small roadside diner just as the morning sunlight poured through its windows. Plates clattered. Coffee cups froze midair. And in the center booth, a girl with trembling hands and braces on her legs tried to shrink into herself as three teenagers towered over her. Their laughter was sharp, cruel, and loud enough to cut through the calm. Then one of them leaned in, whispered something ugly, and slapped her across the cheek so hard her glasses fell to the floor. Before the staff could react, before anyone could gather the courage to stand, the bullies stormed out, leaving silence heavy in their wake. If you believe the world still has good people, if you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul right now. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. The girl's name was Mira Halden, a quiet 17-year-old with a mobility disability that had shaped most of her life. She rarely went out alone, but that morning she had convinced herself to try something brave: breakfast at her favorite diner, Sunny Fork, a bright, cheerful place where she could watch the world from the safety of a corner booth. But bravery didn't always shield her from cruelty. As she sat there, face burning and vision blurred, she felt the familiar ache, an ache she thought she'd learned to ignore. The staff rushed toward her, but she insisted she was fine. She was used to swallowing pain. That was the saddest part. Outside, the sun kept shining like nothing had happened. Mira wiped her cheek, retrieved her glasses, and tried to steady her breath. She didn't want to cry in public. She had spent years practicing how not to. But shaking hands betrayed her. And when the first tear fell onto the formica table, she wished she had never left home that morning. The bullies had long disappeared down the highway, but something else was coming, something Mira, or anyone else in the diner, didn't expect. About an hour later, the ground began to hum softly. It wasn't thunder. It was engines, deep, rumbling, steady. Motorcycles. A whole line of them. 12 heavy, chrome-plated machines rolled into the parking lot, sunlight flashing off metal like sparks. The riders dismounted slowly, boots hitting the pavement in unison. They wore leather jackets, patches, and helmets tucked under their arms. They looked like a storm walking upright. The glass door swung open with a soft chime, far too gentle for the presence that entered. The first biker was a tall man with a gray beard braided at the end, named Rex Dalton, leader of a local riding group called the Iron Shepherds. They weren't the kind of bikers TV shows love to dramatize. They were a group known for charity rides, helping strangers, and protecting the vulnerable. But no one in the diner recognized them just yet. They took a long look around the room as they walked in, and the customers fell into a hush. Not out of fear, out of curiosity. Out of instinct. Something big was about to happen. Rex's gaze swept the diner until it landed on Mira's table. She tried to look away, but he stepped closer, noticing the faint red mark still imprinted on her cheek. His voice was low, warm, and unexpectedly gentle as he asked if the seat across from her was taken. Mira shook her head. Then, one by one, the other bikers filled the booths beside her, surrounding her without fencing her in, forming a quiet shield of safety she didn't realize she needed. She whispered what had happened. Her voice trembled at first, but the more she spoke, the steadier it became. The bikers listened with stillness, with respect, with a kind of fierce calm that made the rest of the diner lean closer without daring to interrupt. Rex didn't raise his voice. He didn't break anything. He simply nodded once and said that no one should face the world alone, and certainly not someone as brave as her. Mira blinked. Brave? No one had ever called her that. Then something extraordinary happened. The Iron Shepherds asked the staff for a favor. They wanted Mira's breakfast on their bill, of course, but more than that, they wanted her to join their weekly charity ride the following Sunday. A ride supporting accessibility and disability awareness. A ride where hundreds of supportive strangers would show up just to make people like her feel seen, honored, and empowered. Mira's eyes widened. She had never been part of anything. Never been invited, included, or celebrated. She wasn't sure she belonged at an event full of roaring engines and confident faces, but as the bikers spoke to her like she mattered, something inside her cracked open. Hope. Maybe the world wasn't just cruel. Maybe it had protectors too. For the first time that day, Mira smiled. Not because everything was fixed, but because she realized she wasn't invisible. And she didn't have to fight alone. If this story touched your heart, if you believe kindness can come from the most unexpected people, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul. It truly helps keep stories of compassion alive. Before we end, here's a special request: comment, "I stand with kindness," if you believe everyone deserves protection and respect. Mira walked out of the diner that day with a small paper bag holding her leftover pancakes, and 12 bikers escorting her home like she was royalty. And for the first time in her life, she didn't feel broken or weak. She felt powerful. She felt seen. She felt safe. And the world, for once, felt like a place worth stepping into.